especially when mothers that have babies, the young mothers that have babies at home and everything. When your husband come home and helps you out and does things for you, that may turn you on. Might be helpful. Say you need help, like the store. Say you need help. Service. What they can do for you, people do for you. That's act of service. That might turn you on. Because I read a story about this young couple. This young couple was having problems in their marriage. And what it was that things they did while they were dating, they stopped doing after they got married. Mm-hmm. What he was doing for her before that marriage was he'd help her with the dishes. He'd come over his house, come to her house and help her with the dishes, help her family do things, build things for the church, doing all these things. And she would help him do things too. But after they got married, they stopped doing things. And here come the problems. Because number one, they did not communicate what the problem was. So when they talked to this counselor, he said, well, make a list of things, and found out that was the problem. They were not doing what they did before they got married. Mm-hmm. They got in the routine of things. Got settled and wasn't working. So you have to remember what you did to get her or him, continue to do. If you were to help her, then help now. That's right. If you washed her car before you got married, she'd have a dirty car, not one time. Every time you come over, oh baby, can I wash your car for you? And then you get married and start washing the car. What's up? What was that? That's a problem. And then we try to talk. No. Continue to do what you do and be a blessing.
What it took to get her, keep it up. Keep it up to keep her.
Yes.
That sounds simple, y'all, but it really isn't that hard to do. I wash my wife's car. I'm a clean car fanatic anyway, and I wash her car. She goes somewhere and come out. I said, baby, where have you been? Well, they was doing construction. I said, well, you go around it. You go another way. Lord, I'll back up, turn around, go around the block. After I done dressed them tires and stuff, I ain't doing that. I'll go around the block. But my wife, she'll dive in that hole. And then her little car, it throws it all up on the side. It looks like I got wings on the side. These are just things that I said, well, ain't no need fussing about it. Just clean it up again. I said, baby, kind of watch where you're going, like that. But see, these things, you think, why would that cause a problem? Some of y'all don't care. Your car's dirty, you don't care, but that's not me. My car's, I like it clean. And when we talk of while we're talking about intimacy and communication, there are two pillars here: intimacy and communication. And without them, these are the pillars that will help you, will bring you both together and support a strong and healthy relationship. These two pillars do that. And what you want is a strong, healthy relationship, right? Right. You want to be able to get along. You don't want to always be bickering and carrying on all the time. And the scripture came to me when I was putting this one together, and it's Ecclesiastes chapter 4, verse 9 through 12. Two are better than one. That's good. Because they have a good reward for their labor. For if they, and verse 10, for if they fall, the one will lift up his fellow. But woe to him that is alone when he falleth, for he has not another to help him up. Verse 11, again, if two lie together, then they have heat. But how can one be warm alone? Y'all understand what I'm saying? Verse 12. And if one prevail against him, two shall withstand him. And a threefold cord is not quickly broken. I totally believe that the third cord in this relationship is a relationship that we have with the Lord. Yes. When we give our heart to him and invite him into our marriage, we are well on our way to a strong, healthy, and lasting marriage. Because I had two dogs at one time. My kids taught me to get my dog, and then came another one. I had two Rottweilers, a German Rott and a American Rott together. And boy, did they eat up some groceries. But anyway, I had them in a pen outside that I built. And I had 2 dog houses. They were both females. I had 2 dog houses. And you know, it's cold out. That's before people start meddling in your business and say it's cold and call the police on you because you left your dog out. You know, this is before that. You can't get away with that. Below 0 weather, I come home and they were behind the house. They heard my truck. They knew the sound of my truck door closing, and they start yelping. And I go let them out. But these 2 dogs, I went out early one morning, got below 0, and these 2 dogs, one was in the house with the other. And this is why that scripture comes to me, where how can one lie together, lie down and keep warm without the other? If they had enough sense to get in the same house and keep warm. You know, so I mean, this 2 is better than 1. It takes 2 of us. You know, y'all remember the song? I forget who sang it, but it takes 2, baby. It takes 2 to make a dream come true. I forget who it was, but it's an old song. But it takes 2, and if I'm there and you there, we gonna make this thing work. When you make it up in your mind, you may be all topsy-turvy in your marriage. You may be arguing with each other, but you say, look, we got to make this thing work. That's right. People are watching us, especially if you're a leader. They're watching you. Are we ready for the next one?
Just last one.
All right.
The last one is physical touch. Holding hands, kissing, embracing. That all can lead to sexual intercourse. You don't start kissing and hugging, embracing that moment. You start in the mornings. Give the person a hug. Give them a smile. Give them a kiss. Let them know I love you. You know, sometimes when I'm at work, I call my husband and say, baby, I love you. Then go about my business. But just let him know I love you. I like holding hands. I like putting my arms around his waist. I like all that stuff. Because all of that can lead to what we both should want at the end of the day. Physical touch. It builds up. It's like vitamin C. You know, watch out. Gives you that. Builds you up.
Yeah.
You know, that vitamin C, gives you that good shot. You know, it builds you up. You know. It builds you up. Smile on your face.
Smile on your face. Don't do too much of that. It works, y'all.
Because sometimes if you grew up in a home where it did not do that, some people take that on into their marriage. They're not used to hugging and kissing. You know, but you gotta change that. You cannot bring your past relations into your marriage. You can't say, well, he didn't do it in the past, or my family didn't do it, so I don't do it. No, change your attitude. And let him know, I'm going to do better. I'm going to communicate with you. Where's that at? What's that? Yeah, communicate. I'm determined that he needs that. He needs that physical touch. You know, we need that. Well, I need that. I don't know about you, but I need that. I need a hug. You know, kiss. You know, other things too.
And it's all about communication. It's all about communication. I know of a marriage where a marriage took place and one is getting ready to happen. The two girls are sisters, and they didn't like what they saw in their dad. They didn't like what they saw, how he ruled the house and ruled their mother and everything. They didn't like that. And I believe right today, the one is not married because of what she saw. So she got married and she put up walls. Ain't nobody gonna run me like that. You know what I'm saying? That's a bad thing. And then on the other hand, the other girl's getting ready to get married, and I already know what she's gonna be like. I said, Lord, I don't know how that's gonna work. And she's older, he's much younger than her. And the type they are, what they saw out of their dad, that's I pray for them, I tell you. But because if you come into a relationship, if you bring that baggage into your relationship, that what your dad used to do, what your mother used to do, that you got a mess on your hands. You know what I'm saying? We got a mess. Y'all, we don't have but a few more minutes. and we're gonna do this for you. Now let's talk about adjustments. As you build something, as you build a marriage, first the foundation, and you got the pillars, and to keep this marriage strong, let's do this. Just dump them out, baby. Jump out there. Don't make noise. Just jump out. We're gonna deal with some adjustments now. And now, when building a marriage relationship, there are some adjustments that have to be made. And since building requires the use of tools, let us give you the proper tools to use to make adjustments. Now, the first thing you're going to deal with is love. When it comes to making adjustments in this relationship, you're going to do it. You have to do it with love. And the hammer, believe it or not, represents love. I'm gonna drive this home one way or the but that's not the way we're looking at it. The hammer represents. I'm gonna get it done one way or the other, y'all. When you come to build it, you know a hammer is one thing that is used. The hammer is used. All right, and it says here, love, an action word. Love is an action word. It's more than you just saying I love you. What is love? It's an actual. You got to show me you love me. Old song they sing. It says somebody. I want to know what love is. I want you to show me. And it takes this, and love is an actual word. The force of the hammer is used to put the relationship in order. It takes force. It takes some force, not forcing one another, but it's used to put a relationship in order. So I speak to you kindly, and you speak to me kindly, all right? Y'all understand what I'm saying? Indeed, maybe we start out saying, hey, baby, get me such and such thing, or get me this, or get me that. That's what my daddy used to talk. Hey, boy, go in there and get such and such thing for me. Didn't say thanks or nothing. You know, one thing I did learn to see out of my dad is to learn. I learned from my dad to learn what not to do. Right. I learned that, and you see, but you deal love is action. You take that hammer and you'll build that you'll build on that love, and you begin to set things in order. You begin to know how to speak to one another, and how to talk to one another. Communication. Maybe we have one. Oh, communication. You need, and for the tool for communication, you need some glue. Because glue does what? Holds things together. Not enough of it will do what?
Fall apart.
Fall apart. There you go. Not enough of it. And you know, the Bible tells us in the book of Genesis, for this cause shall a man leave his father and mother and cleave unto his wife.
Amen.
And they two, that word cleave means to stick to like glue.
That's right.
And when you do that, it brings us together. The glue is used to keep us together, and not enough of it can cause a real problem.
Amen.
All right, David? Did you have it? All right. Now we got growth. That's another. I don't have it up here, but that's something else that has to be in a marriage. Was because actually the reason I don't have it up there is because I would use the 8 pillars on that podium, and I didn't have I knew I only had 8. But last week when we talked about the pillars, you guys gave some good feedback as other pillars. One was respect. I didn't have that one, and then one was intimacy. We didn't have that one, so you gave some good feedback. But when we talk about growth, in order for this adjustment to work, there must be these what we call pruning. In order for a plant to grow, you know what you got to do with it?
Got pruning.
And what does pruning do for it? Helps it to grow you.
Give it oxygen.
Give it oxygen. True, right? But y'all know something. This hurts.
Yeah, it does.
Y'all know what I'm saying? And when we got to be pruned in our marriage, sometimes it don't always. It may hurt the way it's coming to you. But then somebody might come along, if you had to have some counseling, come along and tell you something different. And it will coincide or confirm that. But in order for a plant to grow, some things you have to cut back. You have to cut back your friends. You have to cut back on people you hang out with. And if it's not helping your marriage, you might have to cut back on social media. You know, you're always on it. You see? So there's some things you have to cut back on in order to grow. Soft-spoken words. All right, Proverbs 15:1. Anybody know what it says? Oh, it's got it right
Slow
here.
to speak, quick to
What?
listen.
A soft answer turneth away wrath, but what?
Grievous words.
Grievous words stir up anger. Soft spoken words is you can take a tool like a screwdriver and say you got two pieces of wood and this for this top to stay on this podium. Somebody had to take some screws and adjust it, and they had to use some glue with it, and they put it on there and to make it stay. Sometimes our speech, our words need some adjusting. All right? And sometimes the way we say things, and when I want to complain about something, y'all, you might want to try this. It didn't work for me, but it might work for you. You might want to complain about something. You kind of use the easy way. Baby, you know, that stuff there was pretty good. But, you know, I'm not a fan of, you know, and, you know, I'm trying to complain. I told my wife she used to pack my lunch every day. I was a truck driver. I always had my cooler there, my lunch in it, down between the seats, and I'd eat while I'm driving. Anyway, I drove a semi. And when I'm out on the road, say like State Road 52 going to Lafayette, when I have no traffic, I'd eat and do be swerving and carrying on, but I don't know behind me. And one day she fixed me some pasta. And I had to sit still. I said, baby, you know, I don't really like pasta. I'm not a fan of pasta. So she didn't say nothing. I thought, that's different. So the next day, I grabbed my lunchbox. I don't know if she didn't like me to look in it. She was at work. I grabbed my lunchbox. It was awful light. I said, well, I got there and opened it. I worked and opened that lunchbox up. I had peanut butter and jelly. I said, that's why she didn't say nothing. I learned the lesson. Kept my mouth shut there. Peanut butter and jelly, y'all. When I used to have chicken wings and all that stuff, then I learned peanut butter and jelly. Soft spoken words. Y'all know? I need to take a screwdriver. It taught me a lesson. I said, no, she didn't.
We're trying to tell you these things because you need to adjust. If
Yes.
you're having a problem with intimacy, there's adjustment time. Okay. It might have to have one of those love languages.
Mm-hmm.
Find out what works for you and your husband. What turns your husband on? What turns your wife on? And I guarantee, by the grace of God, something good's going to happen to you as a result of changing, adjusting things, communication, finding out what's going on, finding what your needs are, more physical touch, more affirmation, more quality time. Something got to change, and this is the time.
Yes, and I'm gonna tell you this, and we have to end it up. Also, I told the group last week. I told them last week. I said we've been married 45 years, but it's not perfect.
No.
Right.
No marriage is perfect. You know, there's still some things I can still say the wrong thing sometimes, or you know, you might do the wrong thing. But I remember telling you last week, one of the biggest mistakes you can make in marriage is you trying to change her.
Yes.
Or her trying to change you.
Yes.
I tried it, y'all. It don't work. Believe me, it don't work. I tell anybody when I counsel people in marriage, I tell them, don't try to change this woman. God made us different.
Yes.
I'm not trying to change her.
Yes.
Because she ate White Castles for breakfast, y'all. And I said, who eats White Castles for breakfast? I tried to change her, and finally she got burnt out on them. But that's before they had the breakfast sandwich. Straight up sliders. Yeah, you know. But see, me trying to change her didn't work. I want to eat bacon, eggs, and eat some cereal or something like that. I couldn't change her. And it's wrong to try to do that. But then we come to the point of compromise. When you come to compromise, you from time to time you need to. When you compromise, you need to adjust some things. You need to adjust. This is a pillar from time to time where that compromise. I got it on here. I do it. Yeah. No, I don't have it on here. Just compromise. But compromise. Sometimes you got to take this. And what is this, y'all?
Adjustable wrench.
So why is it called an adjustable wrench?
Justice.
Because if that head on there, if that nut gets too,
Depending on which nut you.
that's right.
You know.
Gotta adjust. That's right. I said that nut might and you got to adjust it. So, and when see, I told y'all. But I tell you that sometimes don't let me get you in trouble. But you see, sometimes there needs to be an adjustment in our compromising.
That's right.
And don't let nobody tell you, this is something I do not use. I don't use this saying that people say, my better half here, you know, this is my better half. No, she ain't my better half. We two, both of us are whole.
That's right.
You know, we're both whole. This is my companion. She's not my better half, because I think I know something too. but we need to stop saying God didn't create two halves.
That's right.
So if he did, we got a mess to start out with, because she's halfway there and I'm halfway there,
exactly
and
right.
both of us gonna try to be made whole.
Yes.
No, we're both whole. We're both whole, and we work this thing together, and we compromise. And we've compromised on some things, like I didn't particularly agree with, but I went along with it. And it wasn't bad as I thought it was, you know? But that's what it takes. I guess I must have gotten a wrench out and went to adjusting that nut a little bit. Adjusting this nut. Listen, I hope you have filled out your cards. Where's the basket? In your pants. Pardon? Oh, if you have any questions, next week we got another one, and I thought the weather was gonna ruin this one, but we've got another one. And I tell you, these are the pillars. These are the pillars of. This is what holds our marriage up. It starts with love, our foundation, and you got these pillars up under it that it holds it up. That's what holds our marriage up. Understanding, communication, conflict resolution. Oh, we don't never forget prayer. Intimacy, consideration, determining each other's needs, trust, and forgiveness. Trust is something we've got to do. You got to trust your mate. Maybe they done messed up once, but how long are you gonna hold it over them for the rest of your life? You know, you want that marriage to last, you got to trust. Thank you. And trust is key in any relationship. You got to trust that they're gonna do what they're supposed to do, you know, and all of that. I had to talk to somebody that broke trust in their marriage, and I had to talk to them, not he wasn't here, but they broke trust in their marriage, and all I could tell them, one thing I tell them, what has happened, trust, when you break trust, it's a long road back home.
Process.
It's a process. You got to take it one step at a time. You got to do everything right. And you got to think about what you're doing to keep that trust going, to rebuild that trust. You got to do that. And trust is not you broke my trust, and now well we're going back to that. We're back together. Not quite that easy.
No.
It takes a little time.
That's right.
I want to thank you all for being here. Got another good one coming next week, because we're working on things, and we work on a week at a time.